My guy.
How you doing, man?
Good, man. How are you?
Good, man. Welcome
Doing
to
all right.
episode 1 of The Creators.
I'm glad to be here.
Thanks, bro. This is a series where we're talking about what's going on in the industry and how these new equipment and these new things that are coming out can affect creators like you.
Yep. Let's do
So,
it.
man, how you doing today? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm doing good. My name is Wissam Nabulsii. I'm 23 years old. Been doing content for, was it 3 years now?
Yeah.
3 and some change, maybe.
Something like
Close to it. And I've dived into damn near everything. Every niche you could think of. I did comedy for a while. It's all gym centric, but comedy for a while. Did mainly on my phone for the most part. And then, when I started making money from social media is when I bought my first camera. It was a Canon R. It was like $1,200 or something like that. I bought a 50 millimeter prime lens for a little while, had that, and then sold that when I started making a little more money, and I bought a Sony A7 IV. That's been my baby ever since.
For those of you guys who don't know, Wissam is a major influencer. Over 1 million on TikTok, 500,000 or 600,000 on Instagram. He's growing his YouTube right now, so go subscribe to that as well. Editor, drop it right there, please, on the text right now in the video. Thank you. Yeah. So, Wissam, you mentioned that you use iPhone to start.
Yes.
I think what a lot of creators don't understand is that you don't need a $10,000 camera,
Yes.
$5,000 or $3,000. I started on my iPhone as well. And that's all you really need. Now with the new iPhone 16 Pro Max, it has these log formats that you can go ahead and color grade to get that look. People film music videos on the iPhone. Talk to me a little bit about how the iPhone benefited you being a first-time creator.
Yeah. So the biggest thing that helped me was authenticity. So there's a ton of creators out there now that exclusively film on their phone. Me being one of them, first starting out for almost a year, I filmed exclusively on my phone. And the thing that people get messed up is that they confuse quality of the actual picture of itself for the authenticity or the output that the content is going to get you. So they think, oh, I need a big camera, I need this, I need that for me to get millions and millions of views. When people can feel authenticity through their video, you don't need a 4K lens. You don't need a 4K camera to shoot. You don't need a DSLR camera to film you. As long as you can get your message across in a way that's authentic, a lot of people will take that and receive the message even better. I heard a quote from a friend of mine not too long ago that was fancy fails, simple sells, or the other way around. But that in itself, like if you go and scroll on Instagram, a lot of the most interacted with videos are videos that are filmed on a phone. It's because it's what's most familiar to the human eye these days. So when I started out, I was like, this is all I have right now. I need to make the most of it. And me as a personality, me as a personal brand, it doesn't matter whether I'm recording on a phone or a gigantic cinematic camera. I need to get my message across in a way that is going to resonate with my audience. And if I can do that through my phone, what do I need a camera for?
Yeah.
So
That's awesome, man. I think a lot of times, and I myself included for the longest time, I got so caught up in this idea of, oh, I can't post because I need a camera. I can't, I have to save up
I hear
money.
it all the time, bro.
Dude, I talk to so many beginning videographers who have the best eye in the world from using our equipment that we supply at NRB Visions. And they don't go buy their own just because they're like, oh, I can't do it on my phone. Some of the best directors film movies on the phone. It's not, Vin Diesel has this quote, it's not about the car, it's the driver. And I know I didn't say that verbatim, but it's so true. If you have the knowledge, knowing what S-Log is, knowing what C-Log is, knowing how to use ISO and shutter speed and white balance. I call it the holy trinity of cameras. You have to balance these 3 different things to be able to get a great image.
100%.
And I think that that's so crucial because a great image, I know, we talk about wanting to be genuine, right? Now, how important is a great image with being genuine?
100%. Yeah, it's what makes it,
Yeah.
right? You can have the best quality in the world. You can have the best resolution. You can have all of these things, but if the person behind the camera or in front of the lens is not resonatable with the audience, I don't know if that's a word, but if you're not able to resonate with your audience through a message, it doesn't matter how good the quality of the camera is or the production is. There's a group in Africa that was just recently sponsored by Idris Elba. They recorded a movie, like a short movie, on an iPhone, I believe XR or something like that, and they edited it fully on CapCut. And it got the notoriety of like millions of people across the world. Idris Elba found them through this guy named Dylan Page on TikTok. He was boosting their stuff, and he was like, hey, Idris, look at these guys over here. They're making literal movies with nothing but an iPhone and CapCut. So if they're able to do it with simply a phone, right? There's no reason that other people out there in the world right now can't make, fantastic content with a supercomputer, essentially, that you have in your pocket at your disposal at all times. So you don't need a camera. I hear people all the time. They're like, man, I wish I could start. Just don't have a camera. I'm like, bro, you have a phone. You have a you have two cameras. You have a front-facing camera and a back-facing camera. And the back-facing camera right now is comparable with a lot of these big DSLRs just to the naked eye. Not a lot of people know what a 85 millimeter 1.4 broken-on Sigma lens is. Like, they don't know what these things are. So you can put these big things in front of them, but that's not what's familiar. They go to the movies to see stuff like that. They go on their phone to see videos that are filmed on phones because that's what's familiar to the naked eye. So,
and guys, this does not mean don't go get a nice lens. Don't go try to get a red camera or a nice Sony or an anamorphic lens, right? Because these things help in the build over time depending on a certain look you want to get. But that means just go for it. Don't sit around making excuses to why you can't make content. Go for it and stop wasting your time. Carry the boats.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? David Goggins says it's best. Who's going to carry the boats?
Yeah.
Stop making excuses.
Yeah, in terms of content, specifically, I tell people all the time, do not buy your camera until you are making money from social media. There's no reason to buy a camera if you have a fully functioning phone.
I agree.
No reason.
I agree. Yeah. But, there is a certain point, though, where, and this is with social media, this is with business, there's a point where you need to start scaling.
Of course.
Because if you try to do everything yourself, 9 times out of 10, you will cap yourself. So, for example, if I'm running a business and I'm trying to do everything myself, I might cap myself at $100,000 a year. But if I can learn to duplicate myself and to have people do things for me, that 100 turns into the potential of $1 million, right?
Yeah.
So at what point do you feel it's the best time to, hey, let me hire a videographer and editor to start pushing this content for me?
Yeah. I believe it's time when the production can no longer grow. So me as a one-man army, and we've spoken about this before at length, me as a personal brand, my own content. I do my own videography, I do my own editing, I do my own scheduling. Everything is me, right? I could probably be way further ahead if I had hired somebody to do these things. Delegation is power. And as of this year, I have started to delegate certain tasks to certain people, and I've noticed significant growth since then. But in terms of what point you need to start doing that is when the production can no longer grow, when the production can no longer meet the demand. And I've started noticing that recently just within my own growth. I hit 500K at the beginning of this year. We're about to hit 600K at the halfway point. So the scaling is getting a lot faster and faster and faster. And that's when you start getting overwhelmed with the amount of demand there is for content from your audience and your fan base. That's when you need to be like, okay, all right, I need to step back a little bit. This can't all be on me. There's just no way you can do it. When people say, oh, you don't need anybody, just do it all yourself, this and that. That's true to an extent, but all the greats of all time didn't get there purely on their own. Nope. There was a quote from Arnold Schwarzenegger, and I'm not exactly sure what he said, but he said something along the lines of, not everybody, you need a team, essentially. You're not going to get there on your own. Michael Jordan didn't get there on their own. Hell, even Steph Curry still has a shooting coach. And he's the greatest shooter of all time. Yep. So when the production can no longer meet the demand, that's when you need to start delegating, because delegation is power.
I completely agree with you, especially running a content business myself, So let me ask you this, man. What would you feel your hardest and most difficult challenge to overcome through social media has been so far?
Ideas.
Okay, yes. Why?
Because I'll tell you this. So when you find something that works, right? You want to run with that as much as you can. For me, I was doing everything. I was posting 3 to 5 times a day for 6 months straight before I found something that really just worked. And I tried all the complicated stuff. I tried all the intricate, detailed things with my camera and this and that. None of that stuff was really picking up any traction until I was like, you know what? By nature, I love comedy. I love making people laugh. I love making people smile. So I did a simple reaction and it blew up. But I was like, that's just a one-off. It's never going to work again. And then my mom was like, you know what? Do it again. Why not? Did it again, did it again, did it again, did it again. And then it blossomed into this big trending thing where I was just making funny reactions and they were getting shared a lot, ton of views. And then from there, once you build that tree, the branches start to grow. Yep. And those branches are the other ideas that you can start diving into, because now you've built a platform. You've built a base of people that are going to ride with you for this main thing, but there's going to be other people that trickle and see, oh, he does this too, and he does this too, and he does this too. But it gets to a certain point where, more brains are more powerful than one. obviously. So coming up with my own ideas is obviously going to be the most authentic. But if I can have somebody pitch in, maybe try this, maybe try this, maybe try this, I can have different viewpoints of essentially an audience. People that consume my content all the time but are very close to me are going to give me the best input. So I've noticed as of recently that, I've started to ask people like, hey, when you come across my videos, just purely from a consumer standpoint, what do you resonate with the most? And then that from there allows me to shift. Okay, I noticed that this video didn't work, and I asked them, hey, why do you think this video didn't work? They tell me X, Y, and Z. And then from there, I'm able to get a better kind of consensus as to what exactly I need to pivot towards. So ideas for sure is the biggest blockade, because you can watch other people in the industry and you can copy and this and that and shift, but you want to make sure that authenticity is at the forefront of everything that you do. So ask directly from the source. That's the thing that I've kind of pivoted towards this past year, because I was struggling a bit. Yeah, I've been struggling a bit with just ideas because I've been doing this for so long. I want to start diving into things that are going to make more of an impact rather than just reactions and funny and comedy and stuff like that. So yeah, for sure. I mean, I didn't mean to go off on a tangent there.
No, please.
But
that's great. I know for me,
ideas.
So what we do at my business is we are a creative agency first and foremost and a digital marketing firm. As you know, we've worked with you.
Yes.
We've worked with an influencer, as you guys see right here. But most importantly, we work with a lot of corporate clients right now.
Yeah.
And one thing that we do, we're working with a sales firm, and they've been a little bit difficult as far as, like, I love working with them. They are incredible to work with. But when I say difficult, I mean, door-to-door sales is not something that you'll find trending quite often. So to make that happen has been a little bit harder than a lot of our other clients.
Yeah.
And what we've been doing is we've been doing what I call a process of elimination.
Yeah.
Just like you said, hey, I'm going to post this. If this doesn't work, I'm going to go that, because it's really the only way that we can do that. So what we did, I was doing some training research for them. I was scrolling through the biggest door-to-door sales influencers.
Very glad you brought that up. I'll touch on that in a second.
No worries. But I was scrolling through. I'm like, okay, let me try this video. I did it. We had over like 125 hours of watch time on one reel on TikTok. We hit 18,000 views. Mind you, we were hitting 200, 300, 400. Now all of our videos are spiking up to 3,000, 4,000 every time, 1,000 to 3,000 every time we're posting them. So now we've hit something. Now it's just about replicating that, the one that did well, and then building off of that. And so that's something that we do for our businesses along with the paid advertising.
Yeah.
I mean, it really can amplify the process.
Fantastic.
Yeah, man. Yeah. What were you going to touch on?
I heard this from LeBron the other day, right? He's saying, keep the main thing the main thing.
I love that.
Right? For him, it's basketball. So keep the main thing, and just continue to do that. And don't put anything else in there. Just keep the main thing the main thing. In terms of content, right? I was watching highlights from Streamer University. I don't know if you saw any clips of it. Agent 00, Kai Cenat, all these guys. Agent was talking about how, there was points where he didn't really enjoy doing what he was putting out, like the videos that he was putting out, but they were the things that performed the best on his channel. So he was like, this is what's going to elevate me and my brand. Although it's not something that I want to necessarily do all the time, I'm going to continue doing it because this is what resonates with my audience. And it's when it's going to push me into the direction of where I want to be. So anything that anytime people come up to me, they're like, hey, like, I want to do this, this, and this for this specific niche. Like my little brother, right? For instance, he does streaming, he does gaming, right? So the thing I tell him, I'm like, okay, you need to go find the biggest people in the gaming industry right now, see what's working for them, take what's working from them and flip it. Yep. Like put your own spin on it. Not telling you to copy.
Don't reinvent the wheel.
Don't reinvent the wheel. No. Whatever's working right now is what's going to work right now. It may not be what's going to work next week, the next month, but you need to take what's working right now. Don't reinvent the wheel, like you just said, and put your own spin on it. People will love you for you as opposed to another creator because you're doing what works, what resonates, what makes people laugh, what makes people sit and generate that watch time like you were talking about. So don't reinvent the wheel. That's the main thing that I tell people. And my little sister, for instance, she's trying to do a jewelry brand.
I followed her.
I appreciate that. I'll make sure to let her know. I told her, hey, you need to go into the jewelry niche, wherever that is, what's trending in the jewelry field on social media. Figure out what's working. Take that and take it and apply it to what you're doing. Take those pieces of content and flip it. Make it your own, but put your own twist on it because you don't want to just outright copy people.
I got it.
You can. Social media is a big copying game, but people put their own twist on things, and it works for some people. It works for some people, and some people it doesn't.
It's evolution. It's the
evolution,
same concept. It's in the social media landscape. So I want to flip the gears really quick. What camera do you use?
Sony A7 IV.
Okay. Did you see what Sony just released?
I did not.
So they released the FX2.
Okay.
The FX2. So you know the FX3.
Mm-hmm.
The FX3 is the brother of the A7S III. Same sensor, same concept. The A7S III is more towards photo video, and the FX3 is more towards cinema video. But they can get the very same look. The FX2 is the brother of the A7 IV. So it's the same concept in an FX form body with software.
Okay.
You know that.
I did not know that.
You should look into that. It's featured at a price point of $2,600, maybe a little bit more.
How much I bought my A7 IV for.
Mm-hmm.
But it's better than the A7 IV.
It's better than the A7 IV.
Okay. Interesting.
So I want you to look into that because it does have the same. Are you familiar with what dual base ISO is?
Mm-mm.
So dual base ISO is basically. Let me back up here. Your camera can get the best quality it can get based on ISO. That can affect what's called our dynamic range. Dynamic range is the measurement between whites and blacks and details in an image, right?
Yeah.
So when we shoot out what's called our base ISO, that increases our dynamic range to its maximum potential. So if my camera base ISO is 800 and 3200, I have to shoot at ISO 800 or ISO 3200 to get the best performance of my camera in my dynamic range. Essentially, there's other factors that can apply to that, but that's essentially the base concept I want you to take into account for this.
Sure.
Now, if I'm shooting at 1000, it drops my dynamic range. I can't shoot between that. I have to shoot at one or the other. And so as you go about doing your content with your camera, I want to encourage you, dude, shoot on your base ISO when possible, which would be for your camera, I believe it's 800 and 3200.
Yeah.
Because you'll be able to get the details in the blacks and in your highlights, because I know you do very dramatic. And editor, if you can put a clip of his stuff in here right now, please, you'll see like he's in the gym. It's very dark. It's very bright. So that can maximize your range when you're doing those solo shoots by yourself. So I just want to encourage you with that, bro.
Sounds good.
Yeah,
I
man.
appreciate that. I'm a very so I know how to operate the camera,
Of course.
right?
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily know what all the intricate details of each setting is. I just know what looks good to my eye.
Yeah.
So I mess with the ISO here. I mess with the aperture here, the shutter speed here, just to make sure it looks the way I want it to. I don't necessarily know what each one does.
Yeah.
I know the aperture is like how much light comes in. The ISO is obviously what you said. But I do it based off what feels right, And I think back to what we were talking about earlier is people get the idea of this whole production thing mixed up. You can make the best looking video and all this and that, but if the message doesn't come across the way that it needs to, it's not going to resonate with people. And you can do this with an iPhone.
So how important is audio then? Because people will watch a bad video with good audio. How important is that to you and what you do?
Audio is great. It's for me. I am looking for an isolated type of vibe. Like I'm looking for a very conversational type of vibe, like how we're doing right now. I'll give you some backstory as to why I do the videos the way I do them now.
Please.
So I was in the gym one day after, long story short, had an issue with a girl, had a heartbreak going on or whatever. And I was in the gym at like 11 p.m. and with a hoodie on the Stairmaster going for like 45 minutes. And I was like, man, everything I'm going through right now, like somebody else in my audience is probably going through the same thing, if not worse. Why don't I set up my camera and like try to speak to myself, right? And this is where the idea of the message and being, resonating with your audience is key, because, you can be going through things, you could have things going on in your life, but there's people out there that are going through 10 times worse. And if you can take what you're going through and try to help other people with it, that's where you'll connect with your audience. Because David Goggins said it best, you can throw a rock to somebody that can understand how you feel. Like everybody in the world has problems. Everybody in the world is going through stuff. So you might as well take what you're going through and flip it to help other people out. So long story short, I set up the camera and I didn't really do the whole dark vibe kind of thing that I do now. I just put the camera up, sat on the Stairmaster and just spoke from the heart. And I had the Rode mics at the time that isolated my voice and you couldn't really hear much of what was going on in the background. But it gave that vibe of I was speaking directly to the audience, speaking directly to the watcher. And if I didn't have the mic that I had, it wouldn't necessarily resonate with the people the way it did. So say I unplug the Rode mics and you just have the camera audio, it doesn't hit the same, right? But audio is a very, very big thing. If people can feel that you're speaking directly to them, like how we're doing right now, no outside noise, no nothing, that's how you'll get to them. The audio is very, very key factor. So
awesome, man. Well, I want to ask, there are so many different options out there for audio setups for creators that are just getting started. You have your Hollyland mics, which I'm sure you've heard of. You have your DJIs, the ones, the
My
twos,
favorites.
the minis. I love
Yeah.
the DJIs myself. You have your Rhodes,
Yeah.
so on and so forth. What one would you recommend to the viewers, and why would you recommend that?
I started out with the Rode mics,
Okay.
the Rode Wireless Go 2s, I think
Okay.
they were called. I started with those. I'd used them for like 2 years,
Okay.
and they're fantastic mics for beginner level, for advanced level, whatever you need. They are good for what they do. Now, if you want more advanced voice isolating, very clear audio, DJI 2s are fantastic.
Okay.
Like probably the best mics I'll use, and I'll probably use them for a very long time.
What's cool about the DJI 2s is they have something called 32-bit flow audio. Have you heard of that?
I have not.
So you don't have them enabled directly when you go
Mm-hmm.
into the settings, but you go on the receiver and you enable it. 32-bit flow audio basically means you can never peak.
Mm.
So if you yell,
Mhm.
it will never break, and if you talk too low, you can bring it up in post. So it stays balanced. And then it has a noise cancellation feature, so you can talk right to it, and it isolates your voice,
Yeah.
everything around. I love them because you can also record internally.
Yeah, you
So
can. Yeah.
You never lose the audio. It's always recording backup wise.
yeah.
You just gotta click the button.
Yeah.
And you could do that wirelessly via the receiver.
Yeah.
So when I'm out there on shoots, and let's say I'm doing some door-to-door sale videos, I'll be in wherever I'm standing or sitting, and I'll click on 500 feet away, 1,000 feet away from me, and it turns on. So that way I'm saving all that space
Yeah.
to go back and utilize it.
Yeah.
I love them.
I love them. They're very user friendly too. Like the thing I had with the Rode mics is I always wished I could use them with my phone, but I found out how to.
Oh yeah,
get an
the DJs have
adapter.
Bluetooth.
They have Bluetooth, and they have the receiver can directly plug into your phone.
Yeah.
So and then you just connect the other mic to it, automatically connects, and you're good to go.
I love that.
Yeah, I love it, man. I was like, dude, I wish my camera was dead, my battery was dead. I was like, man, I have a video I really want to record right now, and then I looked at it, I was like, oh wait, I can plug this directly into my phone, and so I plugged it directly into my phone, and I recorded a video out of it, and it was fantastic, dude. Like it's just so easy to use. So
Okay. So where you are now, as a creator who is doing it, you know, you're walking the walk. What is your next step? Whether it's camera gear, whether it's social media, how do you take it to another level?
yeah, I definitely want to show people more of my life. I want to get into long form content. I'm a very big short form guy because I can control all the controllables, right?
Of course.
And as much as I love doing that and being able to choreograph and edit and this and that, it doesn't really give people a full introspective look of who Wissam is, what I do on a day-to-day basis, what my family's like, the responsibilities that I have on my shoulder. So I definitely want to get into long-form content. That's my next goal, is being just one of the top guys on YouTube. I've built my platforms to where they are now, thank God, and I don't plan on stopping anytime soon. My one-on-one coaching business is in full swing, so training people all day, every day, talking with my clients on a day-to-day basis. So that's something that I'm super passionate about. Fitness is my life, and I would love to, take that and bring it into long form to be one of these top guys I see on TikTok that are getting clipped up. And there's funny moments, there's sad moments, there's this, there's that. So streaming, long form content, those are my next two biggest steps.
And what's your 10-year goal?
10-year goal? Oh, man, that's a good question. For one, I want to be married in 3 years. Little side note. I want to be married at least by the time I'm 26, 25, 26. 23 and a half now, so I got some speed to, I'm trying to catch this guy. I got some speed to start getting up here, but yeah, man, I want to get married. 10 years from now, I want to be able to say that, I provide everything and more for my family as much as humanly possible. I want to be able to make X amount of money, every year, and just be self-sustainable. I don't like having somebody over my head telling me what to do.
Yeah.
And I've gotten to a point now where I don't have anybody over my head telling me what to do. I purely make everything on my own time, on my own accord, and it's given me a lot more freedom. And I love it, bro. As much as, the success and the money doesn't come in as like it did before, I now have full control. Full control. It's like an artist that doesn't want to sign to a label. It's the same sort of ordeal.
Yep.
But they find so much more independence and freedom and just like more creativity. John Bellion, the guy that I
love
was,
John Bellion.
John Bellion, he just got out of like a 6-year lawsuit kind of contract thing, and now he just dropped a fantastic album.
A lot of artists are switching to that. Like Taylor Swift bought her stuff out.
Yeah,
Like she
yeah,
started
yeah.
her own. I know a lot of I love Caleb Gordon.
Yeah.
He's part. I think
I
he's
love
part of
Logic.
something.
So
There you go.
Logic is
Logic's
he's
a great-
independent now.
J.
Yeah.
Cole,
Yeah.
Dreamville.
Yeah.
So, anyways, Sam, I really thank you. I appreciate
My
you
guy.
coming on, man. And it's been a
My guy.
pleasure. All right, we'll catch you next one.
Yes, sir.
All right, guys. Thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned for episode 2, where we talk about all things camera, all things content. If you guys have any questions, please let us know. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, like, comment, and share, and we'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.